Lester, billionaire Trump backer Bill Ackman calling tariffs a mistake. JP Morgan chief Jamie Dimon said tariffs would likely worsen inflation and will slow down growth.
The Trump coalition is fracturing, and it's not just political operatives sounding the alarm. Billionaire allies, conservative influencers, and even Elon Musk are going head-to-head with Trump over a new economic war. How did a plan to put America first trigger a full-blown revolt within Trump's own base? As of April 8, 2025, Donald Trump's aggressive tariff expansion, once a rallying cry for economic nationalism, is now at the center of a battle between loyalists and free market capitalists. The surprise? This rebellion is coming not from the left, but from his own inner circle. Earlier this year, Trump announced plans for a sweeping 10% universal tariff on all imported goods, a cornerstone of what his campaign is calling universal baseline tariffs. The stated goal? Reassert American manufacturing dominance and end trade dependency on countries like China and Vietnam. But behind the scenes, the policy triggered deep unease. Major donors, economic advisors, and corporate titans, many of whom backed Trump financially and ideologically, have begun raising serious concerns. At the center of the storm is Elon Musk. The Tesla and SpaceX CEO, once viewed as an unlikely Trump ally, has launched a public offensive against the tariffs, accusing Trump's trade advisors of being out of touch and economically reckless. As of this week, Musk is spearheading a vocal campaign calling for tariff-free trade between the U.S. and Europe. Why? Because Tesla, like many multinational companies, depends heavily on global supply chains, and these tariffs are threatening to blow up that model. In a blunt social media post, Musk called Trump trade advisor Peter Navarro dumber than a sack of bricks, escalating a feud that's now pitting Silicon Valley against Trump's economic nationalists. The comment wasn't just colorful, it was a direct shot at the core architect of Trump's trade agenda. But Musk isn't alone. According to an April 8 Fox News report, several high-profile Trump donors and media figures are now echoing Musk's concerns. Ken Langone, Home Depot co-founder and longtime Trump backer, slammed the tariffs as bull, lashkori, warning they'll punish consumers and businesses alike. Even conservative commentators like Ben Shapiro and Ben Dominick have voiced reservations, hinting that the policy might backfire politically and economically in the months leading up to the election. Another vocal critic? Billionaire investor Bill Ackman. He warned this week that the proposed tariffs could have severely negative consequences for the U.S. economy, particularly if China or the EU retaliate with tariffs of their own. And then there's the stock market. Since the tariff plan was unveiled, investor confidence has taken a hit. Companies like Tesla, Apple, and Boeing, deeply reliant on international supply lines, are already seeing volatility. Critics fear that a prolonged trade war could trigger inflation, slow job growth, and undercut the very economic revival Trump is promising. This is no longer a debate about trade. It's a war over the soul of the conservative economic vision. On one side, nationalists like Navarro and Trump, arguing that American independence and industrial revival must come first, even at the cost of short-term pain. They say tariffs are the only way to force global players, especially China, to play fair. On the other, libertarian-leaning capitalists and tech moguls who believe that open markets and international competition drive innovation, keep prices low, and fuel American growth. The stakes are massive. If Trump pushes forward and enacts his full tariff agenda, it could reshape not just global trade. Will swing state voters embrace economic nationalism or revolt over rising prices? And what happens if major GOP donors pull their support over economic policy? Could Trump's own war chest shrink just as the campaign heats up? Perhaps the most critical question, is this policy a bold move to reindustrialize America or an economic misstep that could ignite global retaliation and cost the U.S. billions? Elon Musk versus Donald Trump. Billionaire donors turning their backs. Conservative voices breaking rank. What we're witnessing is a seismic shift in the Republican landscape, and the consequences could echo all the way to the White House. Is Trump's tariff crusade a masterstroke or a catastrophic gamble? Let us know what you think in the comments. Is the billionaire backlash justified, or is it proof that Trump is doing exactly what needs to be done?
Just trillions of dollars of wealth.
Tariff on tariffs.
Higher tariff.
China, 67%. I always say tariffs is the most beautiful word to me in the dictionary.
In a shocking twist that could derail America's manufacturing dreams, President Trump's aggressive tariff strategy is throwing corporate plans into disarray. Companies eager to build new U.S. factories now face a storm of uncertainty. Is this the end of America's industrial resurgence before it even begins? In recent years, a wave of optimism swept through corporate boardrooms as companies announced ambitious plans to establish factories on American soil. This movement aimed to revitalize U.S. manufacturing and reduce reliance on foreign production. However, as of April 2025, this momentum is under threat. President Trump's sweeping tariffs on imports have introduced a volatile trade environment, causing companies to reconsider their domestic investment strategies. The administration's tariff policies have led to significant repercussions across various sectors. Automotive industry, Stellantis, the maker of Jeep and Chrysler, announced the furlough of 900 U.S. workers and temporary production halts in Canada and Mexico. These actions are direct responses to the new 25% tariff on all foreign imported cars, highlighting the immediate impact on the automotive sector. Technology sector. Apple faced a historic loss of over $300 billion in market value after tariffs hit its main manufacturing hubs in China, India, Vietnam, and Taiwan. This situation underscores the vulnerability of tech giants to trade policy shifts. Global supply chains. The tariffs have caused a pileup of car imports at American ports as manufacturers grapple with the levy uncertainties. Executives warn that the situation could become increasingly dire in the coming weeks. The erratic nature of current trade policies is fostering a climate of hesitation among business leaders. The Financial Times reports that while companies are eager to invest in U.S. manufacturing, the unpredictability of tariffs makes long-term planning precarious. New plants take years to build, and executives are wary of committing substantial resources amid such uncertainty. Moreover, the tariffs have sparked significant political discord. Within the Republican Party, a rift has emerged as traditional free market advocates clash with proponents of protectionist policies. This internal conflict further complicates the business landscape, leaving companies uncertain about the future direction of U.S. trade policy. Economists warn that these protectionist measures could backfire, leading to increased production costs, higher consumer prices, and potential job losses. The intended goal of boosting domestic manufacturing may be undermined by the very policies designed to protect it. As America's manufacturing ambitions hang in the balance, the nation faces critical questions. Will the current tariff strategy fortify domestic industries, or will it stifle the very growth it seeks to promote? How can companies navigate this turbulent trade environment to make sound investment decisions? We invite you to share your perspectives in the comments below. Do you believe these tariffs will ultimately benefit or harm U.S.?
Elon Musk, who is usually vocal about Trump's policies.
The relationship between Donald Trump and his co-president Elon Musk.
Elon Musk and the president's top advisor on trade, Peter Navarro.
A civil war is erupting inside Trump's own economic team, and this time, the blast zone is global. Elon Musk just unleashed a verbal nuke on one of Trump's top trade advisors, calling him dangerously dumb and mocking his entire economic philosophy. Behind the insults, a ticking time bomb of tariffs, trade wars, and a crumbling alliance between big tech and MAGA populists. As of April 8, 2025, Elon Musk is not just tweeting memes or launching rockets. He's calling out the core of Donald Trump's trade agenda. The target? Peter Navarro, the architect of Trump's America First tariff crusade. And the stakes? Nothing less than the future of the U.S. economy and its global dominance. This all began in the aftermath of Trump's latest tariff escalation. On March 31, 2025, Trump announced a sweeping 10% tariff on nearly all imports, with even harsher penalties aimed at China, the European Union, and Vietnam. The administration claims it's fighting back against unfair trade practices and restoring American industrial power. But not everyone is buying it. Enter Elon Musk. The billionaire entrepreneur, who has historically tried to balance cooperation with criticism toward Washington, has now gone full throttle against the Trump team. His beef? These new tariffs threaten to drive up costs, destabilize markets, and isolate the U.S. in an interconnected global economy. Navarro, a longtime trade hawk, was quick to strike back. In a now viral statement, he dismissed Musk as nothing more than a car assembler who depends on cheap foreign parts. His implication: Musk's opposition isn't about principle, it's about profit. Musk fired back within hours. On April 7th, he posted on X, formerly Twitter, mocking Navarro's economic credentials and digging up a bizarre scandal. Navarro had previously cited a fake expert named Ron Vara in his trade books, a completely made-up person whose name is an anagram of Navarro himself. Musk's tweet: Peter Navarro literally made up a fake economist to justify his bad ideas. The man is dumber than a sack of bricks. As of today, the White House is trying to play it cool. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt responded with a shrug, saying, "Boys will be boys, and we'll let their public sparring continue." But behind the scenes, the tension is anything but playful. More than 50 countries have already contacted the U.S., urging the administration to roll back or renegotiate tariffs. From Europe to Southeast Asia, the backlash is real, and on Wall Street, anxiety is mounting. Market volatility has surged, with investors bracing for retaliatory measures and supply chain chaos. This isn't just a personal feud. It's a battle over America's economic future. Supporters of Trump and Navarro argue that these tariffs are long overdue. They believe the U.S. has been taken advantage of for decades and that short-term pain is worth long-term independence. Their view? This is economic nationalism at its finest, putting American workers and industries first. But critics see a looming disaster. Elon Musk and others argue that these policies are economically reckless. They warn that tariffs will raise prices for consumers, hurt export-driven businesses, and provoke trade wars the U.S. can't afford. In their view, the global economy is too interconnected for isolationism to work. Musk has gone so far as to propose a zero-tariff agreement between the U.S. and Europe. Free trade, not trade war. It's a direct rebuke of Navarro's protectionist playbook and a bold attempt to reframe the conversation. The bigger question? Who really speaks for Trump's economic policy? Musk, with his vision for global innovation, or Navarro with his doctrine of national self-reliance? This showdown is far from over. With the world watching and markets trembling, the U.S. is hurtling toward a crossroads. Will Trump double down on hardline tariffs, risking backlash from allies, industries, and even his own inner circle? Or will voices like Musk's force a course correction before the damage becomes irreversible? This is more than just a tech titan versus a trade advisor. It's a test of two competing visions: global integration versus economic nationalism, innovation versus isolation. So what do you think? Is Musk right to call out Navarro, or is Trump's team finally standing up for America in a ruthless global market?
They're dying to make a deal, but I said, we're not going to have deficits.
After President Trump's tariffs,
with another set of even higher tariffs set to kick in this coming week.
In a move that's sending shockwaves through the global economy, President Donald Trump has unleashed a barrage of tariffs, boasting that world leaders are kissing my ass to secure trade deals. This audacious claim comes as the U.S. imposes sweeping tariffs, igniting fears of an all-out trade war. But what does this mean for international relations and the average citizen? Is the world on the brink of economic chaos? On April 2nd, 2025, President Trump announced a series of tariffs targeting a multitude of countries, with China facing a staggering 104% duty on its exports to the U.S. Other nations, including those in the European Union, are subjected to tariffs ranging from 11% to 50%. These measures took effect on April 9, 2025, marking a significant escalation in the administration's protectionist trade policies. During a speech at the National Republican Congressional Committee dinner in Washington, D.C., President Trump asserted that foreign leaders are desperate to negotiate, stating, "I am telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass." He further mimicked their pleas. "Please, please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything, sir." The immediate aftermath of these tariffs has been tumultuous. Asian stock markets plummeted, with Japan's Nikkei index dropping over 5%, Hong Kong's Hang Seng index losing 4.3%, and Taiwan's market plunging more than 5.7%. European markets mirrored this downturn, with significant losses across major indices. In response to the U.S. tariffs, the European Union is contemplating retaliatory measures, including imposing tariffs of up to 25% on American goods, such as soybeans, steel, and household items. This potential escalation raises concerns about a full-scale trade war between major economies. Supporters of the administration argue that these tariffs are a necessary tool to rectify long-standing trade imbalances and protect American industries. They believe that the aggressive stance will compel trading partners to negotiate more favorable terms, ultimately benefiting the U.S. economy. Critics, however, warn of the dire consequences of such protectionist measures. The immediate market volatility and potential for retaliatory tariffs could disrupt global supply chains, increase consumer prices, and stifle economic growth. Billionaire fund manager Bill Ackman has cautioned that the world is on the brink of a self-induced economic nuclear winter, urging the administration to reconsider its approach. The president's brash rhetoric and the administration's unwavering stance have also raised questions about the future of international alliances and the stability of the global economic order. As countries prepare to retaliate, the prospect of a prolonged trade conflict looms large, with potential repercussions for industries and consumers worldwide. As the dust settles on this latest development, one can't help but wonder, are we witnessing the dawn of a new era in global trade, or are we on the precipice of economic disaster? Will these aggressive tactics yield the desired outcomes, or will they backfire, plunging the world into financial turmoil? We want to hear from you. Do you support the administration's hardline trade policies, or do you fear the consequences of escalating trade tensions? Manufacturing? Subscribe for more in-depth analyses of the policies shaping our economic future.